Mufussy's got the rage, let it flow. Holding on to stories, tales untold. He's the king of the ring, the last man standing. Dropkick the Commute.
Hello and welcome to Dropkick the Commute, the only podcast on the internet where I drive around in a car and talk about wrestling. February 13th, 2025. We had a crazy week. I'm going to start off with the biggest thing before we hop in the car. Ricky Starks is on NXT. This was insane. NXT was just going. They were recapping some stuff, talking about Elimination Chamber, and then all of a sudden, in the crowd, you hear, well, Ricky Starks walks out, and he starts doing a promo, crowd chanting his name, people going crazy, and he's like, you already know who I am, and he's like, I'm gonna flip this place upside down. So he is just gonna add to the chaos that is NXT, and I'm super excited for it. This is absolutely insane. He was released from AEW on Monday, and he showed up on NXT the day after. Just unheard of. Whenever I watch old documentaries and stuff about like the Monday Night Wars and WCW, I'm like, man, I wish I was coherent during that time of all these wrestlers jumping back and forth between shows. And this is one of those moments where it's like, oh shit, we're like kind of reliving it right now. Whether or not you like AEW or not, this is fucking crazy. Like for the industry as a whole, just the fact that there are these opportunities for people to hop to AEW or hop to WWE. You really don't know who's going to show up where, and you can predict it, you can guess on where people are gonna go, but the fact that it does happen is like a whole different story, and this is crazy. So Ricky Starks is officially in WWE, and with that, I am going to hop in the car. We're going to talk about the weekly shows, as well as some predictions for some big shows coming up this weekend. We have NXT Vengeance Day, and we also have Grand Slam Australia on the AEW side of things. Let's go. Here we are back in the truck. DTC Trucking Incorporated Industries Enterprises LLC. I am delivering, I believe, a giant truck of sawdust panels, I think it was. We're going to talk about the weekly shows, starting off with Raw. Raw was really good. Really liked this week's episode. Right out of the gate, we had, of course, Jey Uso's entrance, and he's been getting the encore chants every single time he comes out. So people go one more time for his music and shit like that. And WWE delivers every time. But this week, I absolutely loved what they did, because they had, oh my god, what am I doing? Driving all over the place, wrong way. I'm gonna fucking jackknife this shit. Okay, here we go. They had Gunther come out and interrupt it during the encore, and I loved this, dude. Massive heat for Gunther. And I saw a thing about like the story that they're presenting here, and I completely agree with that. You're having the new entertainment like Yeet Man against an old school Graps style wrestler, and that is 100% the story being told here. Of course, we have the thing with like Gunther saying, oh, Jay's just a tag team guy, you're never gonna be main event material, all this kind of stuff. Obviously you have that to make it personal, but the story that WWE themselves is trying to tell is like old school Graps versus entertainment man, and that is completely true. Jay officially picked Gunther for WrestleMania, so that is one of our main events that we're gonna have. We're gonna have Jey Uso versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight title. I love this. I like it. I'm assuming that we are going to get John Cena versus Cody Rhodes for one of the other ones. If we don't have John Cena, it could be like Punk. It could be really anyone. It's still very much up in the air who Cody Rhodes is going to face at Mania. But, you know, if we have it be Cena, then it's like the passing of the torch kind of thing here, kind of story. Or you have Cena win at Mania. I genuinely don't want Cena to win at Mania. I do like this story of if Cena keeps losing, you know, it makes that win that much more special. And it's kind of the story of his retirement tour is him trying to get his first win in over, you know, 3 years or whatever it's been. He has not had a win in a very, very long time. And I think if you keep delaying that win, it's going to make it that much more satisfying in the end. We had a really, really good tag match with Damage Control and Liv and Raquel. This match was fire. I thought everyone in this match did a really good job. You know, Raquel, I don't know, she's been kind of weak ever since she came back. You know, we had that mishap at Bad Blood with like her timing. The matches that she has been in have been kind of just like meh, but in this match she was really great. Everyone in this match was good, and we had a bloody, very bloody Liv Morgan after a knee from Io, and you know, it was just a very badass image of Liv once she got the win. Some crazy oblivions in here as well. The chemistry with Io and Liv is really, really good, and Io is just fucking crazy. So, you know, this was a really, really entertaining match, very solid. We had 2 more qualifying matches for the Elimination Chamber on Monday as well, and the 4 participants that are confirmed for both matches on the women's side of things, we've got Bayley, Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, and Bianca Belair. Men's side of things, we've got Drew McIntyre, John Cena, Logan Paul, and of course CM Punk. CM Punk won last week, and Logan Paul beat Rey Mysterio this week. So Elimination Chamber is looking to be pretty stacked. I think the matches, you know, Elimination Chamber is usually pretty entertaining. I really, really liked last year's. We had some fun moments in that, and this year is going to be just as good, I imagine. There was a super cool Penta vignette where he's talking in front of like a bunch of flames, completely surrounded by fire. You know, he's just spouting like, yo, I'm here to win championships. I'm here to show like I can hang with everybody else, pretty much was his promo. Very passionate. Like Penta was on CVV last week as well, and just talking about like how passionate he is, and you know, a really, really good interview. But it definitely showed here in this promo as well. And, you know, obviously he showed it during his first promo. It was just super cool, like him surrounded by all that fire, and you know, the amount of stock that they're putting into Penta. Like WWE definitely cares about making Penta a huge star here. So really, really good to see there. AJ Styles cut a promo, and huge pops for AJ. Obviously AJ Styles returned at the Royal Rumble. The crowd absolutely loved him here. And one thing I love, Michael Cole dropped like, oh, 2-time TNA world champion. Like, I love that they're, you know, with the partnership with TNA, they're acknowledging TNA history. Lots and lots of love for AJ Styles in this segment, and it was just really, really fire to see. I mentioned that there was a qualifying match with Logan Paul and Rey Mysterio, and this match was really good. Logan Paul is just using Hangman's moveset 100% at this point. Obviously people pointing out the moonsault slam from the turnbuckle. Obviously we have the buckshot lariat and shit like that, but his moveset is just 100% Hangman, which is so funny to me. It was a entertaining match. I thought it was solid. Rey Mysterio almost won this numerous times. Like, Rey Mysterio put on an excellent match here, I thought. We had the debut of Logan Paul's new finisher, the Pulverizer, which they're now calling the Pulverizer. Pat McAfee dubbed it the Pulverizer. So that is his finisher. You know, it's kind of a very similar to Ricochet's move, very similar to the Hidden Blade. It's just that kind of thing, but they put a lot of emphasis that he's got that steel plate in his arm. So the Pulverizer knocked out Rey Mysterio. He got the dub, and Logan Paul is officially in the Elimination Chamber once again for 2025. As Raw was going off the air after this match, the New Day came out and attacked Rey Mysterio, but then they cut the broadcast. It's like, it's on Netflix, bro. You don't need to do that. Like, one of the things they said about Netflix is like, oh, they're more lenient with run times. Like, they can be on there longer because it's just streaming to Netflix, but like, apparently not, because they're cutting it off in the middle of segments. I also saw that during one of the commercial breaks, like, if you were overseas, you saw a whole promo from Liv Morgan that they didn't show in the States. Like, these whole segments are just being either, you know, cut off or just covered by ad breaks, and it's so goofy to me. Like, oh, I'm gonna crash in the construction zone. That was spooky. Sorry, California Department of Transportation. My bad. Wonder how big my fine would have been for that. That would have been fun. Guys, don't podcast and drive. This is what happens. Raw was solid this week, I thought, and now let's hop over to NXT. NXT, also a very good show. Obviously, I already mentioned Ricky Starks debuting on NXT. The show is just as chaotic as ever. Our first match of the night, we had Cora Jade versus Bayley, and I thought this was really, really solid. Very, very good showing from Cora Jade. We saw her on TNA the past couple weeks. She is having some beef with Roxanne, of course. Roxanne being like, oh, I'm gonna win the title. Cora's like, oh, you told me to step up and I'm gonna win a title. So Cora Jade ended up beating Bayley because of a distraction from Roxanne, who came out dressed up as a young Bayley with her, you know, old school entrance music, and Cora Jade ended up getting the dub. And Ava came out after the match and ended up inserting Cora into the match at Vengeance Day. So that match is now a fatal four-way for the NXT Women's Championship. Obviously, Julia, Bayley, Roxanne, and Cora. Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, we've been seeing them on NXT lately, and their tension is building as it has been for months and months. And we almost saw it come to fruition here where they almost broke up. They didn't, though, and they ended up attacking Obafemi. That is still going to be a triple threat, so that'll be really interesting to see. I think with this triple threat, the way they're building up the tension, I think this might be where we see the breakup of Theory and Waller. I would love it. They've been dragging on their tag team for a really long time. I'm gonna miss my exit. Oh no. Okay, I'm putting on my turn signal and turning. Sorry, buckos. If anyone crashes into me, my bad. They've been building up this, you know, tension for a long time. They've been building up this breakup, so make it happen at Vengeance Day. Let's finally have it. Let's see it happen. I do think Obafemi's gonna retain that. I don't think either of them are gonna get it and become NXT champion, especially with having Ricky Starks there now. Like, I don't see them making Ricky Starks go for the North American. I feel like they are 100% going to have him go for the NXT title, similar to bringing Ethan Page in. So again, just a lot of chaos on NXT. Like, you never know what's going to happen week to week. Javon Evans and Ethan Page had this really funny segment where, like, a very, very clearly fake doctor came on screen and was like, we did a full lookup on him and all this stuff, and he's like, I advise Javon to take great caution in this match, and if his jaw gets damaged again, he may never wrestle again. So it was just a really funny segment there. And Ava's like, Javon, did you hear him? Like, are you sure you want to do this? Javon just immediately signs the contract, so he still wants to face Ethan Page at Vengeance Day. He has been cleared, and he is going to do that, and we're getting that match. I really, really like this feud, and this is, like I said last week, this is exactly what I want to see from Ethan Page. Like, he is a fucking hater. He is wreaking havoc, and it's really good, I think. Last week, we had the return of Fandango, aka JDC, from the system, and we had a Heritage Cup match. Lexus King is the Heritage Cup champion. He has enacted new rules for the Heritage Cup Championship. There's no more rounds, no more corner people. It is just one fall to a finish, like a normal championship match pretty much. And we had our first, you know, match under those new rules with JDC and Lexus King. I thought this was really, really good. JDC obviously came out to the music of the system, which was fire. whole TNA nameplate and all that kind of shit. So this was great. I love JDC. I love his work in TNA from what I've seen so far. I never saw him wrestle as Fandango. He was around at a time that I didn't watch. But I love his work in TNA, and I loved this match. I thought it was great. So this was a fun match to see. It also made the Heritage Cup Championship a little bit more entertaining for me because I'm not a huge fan of the rounds and everything. Like, sometimes it adds some tension that we don't get normally, but I just like these, normal rules, and I think Lexis King is doing a great job so far. Eddie Thorpe and Trick Williams are officially having a strap match, so that is pretty interesting. I'm wondering what kind of strap match they're gonna do, if they're gonna do one that's like one fall to a finish, or if they're gonna do, the four corners with the lights like they did with Drew and Punk. I imagine that's the one they might do, but who knows? It is NXT, and things at NXT are a bit different sometimes, so I would prefer a pinfall strap match or pinfall or submission strap match. I like those better, but the four corners is fine. Lastly, we had Tony D'Angelo defend against Ridge Holland in a cage match, and at the end of this, Izzy Dame, who has been hanging out with the family, ended up attacking Tony and Adriana Rizzo, and they just absolutely brutalized Tony D'Angelo inside the cage after the match. They locked the cage up, and they were beating him with a chair, and they ended up, flipping him off the corner onto the chair down below as the family, watched on. This is interesting because the family was like, yo, Tony, let us out there. And he's like, no, we don't need you. It's a cage match. You're not going to be in there anyways, so just stay backstage. I got this handled, and I'm good. Obviously, he did not have it handled, and he was not good because he got fucking obliterated. So, gonna be cool to see what happens with the family, what kind of drama goes on there. Tony D'Angelo did retain the championship, but he, got fucked up after the match. So we have finished our delivery, so I am going to talk about Dynamite outside of the car. I did pretty good that time. I think I drove pretty good. I had a few mishaps, almost drove into that construction site there, but so far so good. We're vibing. Much easier than Euro Truck Sim, I gotta say. All right, hopping over to the AEW side of things. Dynamite fresh on the mind. I watched it today. I love Hangman and MJF. They are doing a great job. Obviously MJF had his thing with Jeff Jarrett. He just finished his thing with Dustin Rhodes. His match with Dustin Rhodes was a lot better than his match with Jeff Jarrett, and the whole feud there, very, very short. I can't really call it a feud, just like a little shtick there. There's a short little feud. The Dustin Rhodes one was much better than the Jeff Jarrett one, I gotta say. As these have been building, we've been getting Hangman and MJF, talking shit to each other. Hangman came out at the end of the match to save Dustin Rhodes, and they had a little stare down. They start fighting. Security, has to separate them, and this is really good. That's not the first thing we saw from Hangman from the night, though. Hangman also had a match with Max Caster answering his open challenge, and Max Caster got absolutely fucking obliterated. This was a really quick match. Max Caster started off the show and he's like, all right, who wants to do my open challenge? And Hangman answered it, and Max Caster booked it into the crowd. Hangman chased him. Hangman took him down, hit him with a buckshot, got the pin. That was it. Max Caster is 0-2 in his open challenge, which is really funny. Keep making him lose. I like it. We had a quick trios squash match with Joe Hook and Shibata, and we had a fun promo from Samoa Joe after the match, and they are officially called the Ops, and I fucking love this name for them. It's so silly, and they are exactly what they are. They're like, yo, patriarchy, we're your biggest ops, bro. But that is their name. They're the Ops, and obviously they're building more towards the Ops versus the patriarchy. So good stuff there. Really good promo from Samoa Joe. Joe is just so awesome, and he fits the AEW vibe so perfectly. We had a fun segment with Bandito and Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho called out Bandito backstage, and he's like, yo, let's have a match right now. Let's settle this. And They both get in the ring and they have a stare down, and then they end up doing like a shootout sequence where they go back to back, and then they took paces to the corner and all the lights were off. They just had a spotlight down on them and they're standing in the corner just staring at each other. But then Bad Apple Brian Keith came out from under the ring and pulled Bandito's leg, and then Jericho, jumped him. Big Bill also came out to try to help jump him. He was carrying the wanted poster, and he's like, yo, I'm gonna cash in this bounty. He goes out, and the Outrunners actually end up coming out to save Bandito, so this was pretty interesting. The Outrunners are just kind of all over the place lately, where they're just like saving people. But big pops for the Outrunners every time they come out. They're kind of over as a tag team. So favorite segment of the night was Harley Cameron's segment. She's so fucking over, dude. Like she had a great segment on Collision with Puppet Mercedes, and of course we had the Harley Cameron halftime show. This time we had a really, really dope video package. We heard Mercedes music and she was like, CEO, CEO, but she had the fucking puppet. She was doing a rap, and the rap was so good. Like, I didn't know Harley Cameron had it in her to rap, but she definitely does. She's doing the thing, and then she's like, all right, cut the bullshit. And she goes into a promo and she's like, Mercedes, I want to thank you for every time you call me a loser, because it's just motivation. And I'm going to win at Grand Slam Australia in front of my home country, my home people. If they don't give Harley Cameron the dub, I will be so sad, because she absolutely deserves it. She's very over right now with the crowd. The people love her, and her winning in Australia would be so huge. Like, having her win and having Toni Storm win at Grand Slam Australia would be so massive. Of course, we had such a good match between the Hurt Business and the Guns. Like, this shit was so good. Just go watch the match, man. Like, we know the Hurt Business, we know the Guns, we know how good both of them are, and that their chemistry held up in the ring. It was so solid. But in this, we had a "We Hurt People" and "Guns Up" chant. Like, it was "We hurt people, guns up, we hurt people, guns up," like it back and forth. So fucking good. This was everything. Cinema. The Hurt Syndicate did retain, and they're still the tag team champions. Really, really good. With Cedric Alexander's release from WWE, a couple months, we might see him in AEW. Who knows? Early on in the show, we saw Jay White and Adam Copeland with Mox's briefcase. They jumped the Death Riders and they got the briefcase. And he's like, Mox, if you want this back, all you have to do is come out at the end of the show and give me my match at Revolution. So he goes out there and he's got the briefcase and he puts it on the ground, and he pulls out Spike, which is his big, nail bat wood thing. And he holds it up and he's like, Mox, I'm going to destroy the briefcase and take out that belt if you don't come out here and give me what I want. Mox comes out and he's like, fine, I care about that championship. Even though you guys don't believe me, I care about it. So fine, I'll give you your match. Cope starts destroying it anyway, but like, why didn't he just open the case? Instead, he's denting the case, trying to destroy it. But like, pry it open, man. I'm sure you can open it. I'm sure it's much easier than trying to obliterate it. It's kind of what it's for, but I don't know. It was a little goofy, I thought, but that match is official now. Mox is like, okay, bro, I'll give you what you want. We are going to see Mox versus Adam Copeland at AEW Revolution, which is just in a few weeks, so that'll be very exciting. Let's do some predictions. As I said, we do have NXT Vengeance Day, and I will do predictions for Grand Slam Australia. Grand Slam is not a pay-per-view, but it's, still a pretty big show, so I think we should do some predictions there. NXT Vengeance Day. We've got Trick Williams versus Eddie Thorpe, Nathan Frazier and Axiom versus Josh Briggs and Inamura. We've got Javon Evans versus Ethan Page. We've got Julia, Bailey, Roxanne, and Cora. And we also have Fallon Henley versus Stephanie Vaquer. And, of course, for the main event, we have Obafemi, Austin Theory, Grayson Waller. So, I am thinking, starting off with the strap match, I do think we're going to see Trick Willie win that. That'd be a big match for him to win. Trick Williams wins the strap match. That's my official prediction. Tag Team Championship, I'm going to say Fraxium retains. I mean, they're just such great champions. They've been on such a good run, especially with their few matches they just had in TNA as well. Javon Evans versus Ethan Page. I'm going to say Ethan Page wins this. Cheating, no cheating, I don't know. He's probably going to cheat. But I'm going to say Ethan Page wins this, and then he's going to try to destroy Javon's jaw, and then someone's going to come out to save Javon. That's what I think. That's what I think is going to happen. Julia, Bailey, Roxanne, and Cora. I'm going to say Julia retains here. We haven't seen much from her yet for like title defenses. Obviously, we've seen her in plenty of matches, but I'm going to say Julia retains here. I don't think they're going to make her reign that short. So Julia retains, and then, you know, Roxanne and Cora, they're going to have some kind of like blood feud here. Fallon Henley, Stephanie Vaquer. I'm going to say Stephanie wins this one. I think we're going to see Julia and Stephanie champions at the same time. I think they're going to save Stephanie and Julia. You know, I think they're going to save that feud for a little more bit down the road. Obafemi, Austin Theory, Grayson Waller. Obafemi retains. There's no shot that one of those two wins this. If that happened, I would lose my mind. Obafemi easily retains NXT Championship. Those are my NXT predictions. Let's hop over to Grand Slam Australia. Of course, the tag match with Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher. We have the Women's World Championship, Mariah May versus Toni Storm. We have a Brisbane Brawl with the Death Riders versus Cope and Jay White. We've got Mercedes versus Harley Cameron for the TBS title. And we have Okada versus Buddy Matthews for the Continental title. Okada versus Buddy Matthews. I'm going to say Okada retains. He's had that belt for a long time. He had a really good showing in the Continental Classic. I think he keeps it. But Buddy Matthews puts on a really, really good show here. That's what I think is going to happen. Okada retains that title. TBS Championship, I touched on this earlier. I really want to see the Harley Cameron win. I think it would be so special here. Mercedes has 4 belts right now. She can drop one of them. Just drop one of them, give it to Harley Cameron. I think that would be so hyped to see. We've had a long Mercedes run. It's had its ups and downs with the TBS title. Give the belt to Harley in her home country while she's over. It would go so hard. Brisbane Brawl. I see Cope and Jay White winning this. And then I don't know how Revolution's going to go. We're going to see what happens, you know, after this match here. But I see Cope and Jay White winning the Brisbane Brawl. The hardcore matches are Cope's to win. He always wins this shit. Like, on any big show, the people like the Cope victory. They want Cope raising his hand. They want his music playing. Mariah May versus Timeless Toni Storm. Give me the Toni win. That crowd would absolutely erupt. You know, obviously it's Toni's home country as well. Give the win to Toni Storm. Make her the Women's World Champion again. Keep this feud with Mariah and Toni going. It's really, really great. Lastly, Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega versus Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher. I see Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega winning this. I think they're going to win this and then eventually maybe have another feud in AEW. But, you know, I think those are your guys to win, especially if that's going to be the main event. They are really, really pushing that match, and why wouldn't they? Like, those are literally 4 of the greatest wrestlers in the world. It's going to be a fucking banger of a match. And, you know, have the faces win this. Make the people happy. So, that's what I think is going to happen this weekend. We have big shows coming up. Very exciting stuff. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for all the follows, likes, subs, all that jazz. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram, whatever you want to do. If you want to give me money, Ko-Fi link in the description. That's about it. I appreciate you. Keep on vibing and don't forget to Dropkick your weekend. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Bye-bye. Dropkick the Commute.